Hi, I'm Phil from Lift Personal Training. Today we're going to be making a gluten-free bread. It's a banana bread. We're not going to be using any eggs or dairy product. We're also going to be using gluten-free flour, and this is to give it some substance. We've got coconut milk, coconut oil to line the tin. I use a lot of this now. We're actually using a lot of this in our cooking. Just a much better sustainable oil, and it's just a much healthier oil for you. With the coconut milk, they're full of medium chain fatty acids and they're readily used by the body, so we wouldn't worry too much about what's going in it. We've got dates as well to add it a little bit of sweetness, and our fresh bananas are here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the flour into our bowl, and the first thing we're going to do is take a cup. They're all rough measurements, so I have tried this a couple of times and the recipe's turned out alright. So this will be third time lucky, hopefully. So get it out nicely. That's it, so I'm going to use roughly a cup to start with. I'm going to put a teaspoon of baking soda in there. I'm going to grab myself a teaspoon. This is a real simple recipe, and those of you who are my clients that aren't eating much bread or anything like this is going to be a real treat for you in the evenings. Yeah, so I'll get back to you after I've just prepared some of the other bits and bobs, and we'll see what it turns out to look like. Hi, I'm Phil Fleming. We're back to part 2 of making our vegan bread. So what I've done so far is I've added another cup of flour. You start off with 1 cup of flour, and then you basically add it as you go along. I've also added cinnamon in there, good sprinkle of cinnamon. Cinnamon's actually been proven to lower glucose levels, also help control your sugar levels in your body, and a lot of people have been using it for that in case. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we've put a whole cup of coconut milk into the blender with our dates, a whole cup of dates as well. I've mashed my banana, and I've also put a little drab of vanilla in there just to add a little bit more flavour. I've already lined my medium-sized bread tin. This should go in at 170 Celsius in a fan oven for at least an hour to 2 hours, and you'll know if it's done if it will be splitting from the sides. You put a fork in it or a knife in it and pull it out. If it's a little bit wet and moist, then you need to leave it in there for a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is to give it a quick blend, make sure it's a nice consistency. So after it's finished blending, it should sort of come into a gloopy consistency, sort of slightly brown, because obviously the dates has sweetened it up slightly. And just tip it into our mixture, what we've got here. And like I said, you can start out with 1 cup of flour to start with, but I've actually honed it down a little bit and added 2 cups. If it is slightly too dry, you can always add a little bit more coconut milk as you go along. So once I'm mixing this, make sure it's nicely mixed up. At the moment it's looking a little bit dry, so I might add a little bit more coconut milk. Got my banana to add still. I just want it to get its right consistency, make sure it's looking right. So I just added my bananas in. Put that in my sink. So this would be really good for after a workout, because obviously our sugar levels are low, and it'd be perfect for that. Or just a nice little treat for after a hard week of work. So it's becoming more batter-like. What it should look like is a little bit more like pancake mix. At the moment mine's a little bit gloopy. It actually feels alright. It's getting there. I'm just going to add a drop more milk. and this is just going to make it a little bit more wet. So, like I said before, we haven't used any eggs. We've used self-raising flour, gluten-free. So, any of you with allergies out there, or just looking to watch what you're eating and with the grains, this will be perfect for you. This mixture is absolutely probably the best mixture I've made so far. It's coming out nicely. Last couple of ones I've ended up burning or sticking to the pan. So. Make sure you really well grease this pan with our coconut oil, which I'm going to just redo now to make sure I put a little bit more than we would normally on. Again, this is medium chain fatty acids going in as well, so they are readily used by the body. Also, coconut oil is brilliant for your hands, your skin, and it tastes awesome. Hello, so we're just going to pop it back into the oven now. It's at 170 Celsius. I've put a little bit of cinnamon on top. And away we go. Let's hope it all turns out alright. Okay guys, the last part of our bread making. So it's actually been cooked now. It's took an hour and 30 minutes altogether. How I've tested it is I've put a fork inside and pulled it out to see if it is slightly damp. If it's slightly damp, put it in for another 5 minutes. As you can see, it's turned out really, really well. It's come from the sides of the tin. So yeah, it's perfect. I'll just reiterate on some of the stuff that we used. We used 2 cups of gluten-free flour. We used a cup of coconut milk, a whole cup of dates, and 3 mashed up bananas. No sugar, no milk. The flour was self-raising. We blended the dates with the coconut milk and put it all in together, one big mix. A little bit of baking soda and some cinnamon for the top. Put it all in the tin, pop it in the oven, and away you go.